So we're really excited on the Dr. Tekemia Dorsey's radio podcast show to have a phenomenal speaker at the It's Time to Go Deep Summit that's coming up in January 2022. This is the road to the Deep Dive Summit. I have none other than an amazing speaker that I'm going to allow herself to do a 1 to 2 minute intro, and then we can go from there. So please take it away and let the audience know who you are and what is it about you that is so phenomenal that everyone should know.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that introduction. I've never really thought about it like that, but it's just, I'm a wife, a mom, but I had that opportunity to transition from corporate America as a pharmacist in healthcare, which was my plan A for life. And then life happened. Life hit me. And, it's amazing. Some of the things I prayed for and I wanted to do privately, God is now giving me the opportunity to do publicly. As a woman, as an entrepreneur, making that shift and that transition from corporate America in healthcare to be able to be an entrepreneur, to finally live life on my own terms, to have a quality of life that I always dreamed of, the kind of quality that no amount of money could replace, that peace of mind that I finally have when it comes to my life and my family. And I'm just excited and passionate about seeing, women thrive in entrepreneurship and business and whatever they are called to do. Those that are transitioning from one phase of their life to another, those that are in the midst of bouncing back from a setback, be it in their finances, be it in their career or business, to be able to see them transition. That's my goal, just to be able to help these women to not give up during these seasons of our lives that may not be what we anticipated, but God uses that same season to birth something beautiful out of it. So that's just my reason for being here. That's my reason for every morning continuing to push, because I want to be that example for other women, and even for my daughter and for young women that are coming up, so that they too will want to continue to press forward in what they're called to do, even when life may throw them a curveball.
And that's, I don't even know where to start, right? Like you went so deep on that. And so, inspiration, pharmaceutical background, wanting to inspire the next generation, not taking no for an answer, married, life didn't throw you curveballs, but you didn't give up. The one thing I want to focus on just for a second, if I may, is you talked about wanting to have the dream of being an entrepreneur. So to you, what does entrepreneurship mean? And, what types of ups and downs and barriers did you go through to have your dream become a reality to be an entrepreneur?
Honestly, to be an entrepreneur, I had to have that mindset shift. I was accustomed to corporate America. You go to work, you do what you need to do, and then you come home. But what I didn't realize, or, what I was quickly realizing, is that I had the income, but I didn't have that peace of mind that I wanted. I didn't have the flexibility to say, you know what? There's something going on in my children's life that I need to be present for, a moment in time that I can't get back. And I was at the mercy of if corporate America said I could go, if they said you can have the time off. Those are moments in my children's lives that I will never get back. But I can honestly say in these last couple years, about 3 years, I've been able to spend more time with my family than I have in the previous years. And my kids are like 17 and 19. So to be able to spend more time over the course of 4 years than you had in the previous, 13, 14 years, it was mind blowing, having a different peace of mind at night when I go to sleep, being there for those important moments and being able to do what I'm passionate about, being able to own my own business. It's a transition. It requires you to adapt and be open to things that you weren't open to before, like not having that every 2 weeks, have that paycheck hit your account, but it requires you to step out on faith, but it also fosters a different level of creativity that I didn't have before. Before I was in a box, according to what corporate America said. Now I get to live life on my own terms.
And that's amazing. And so you talk about life as a W-2 employee, not really, and it wasn't, you had the finances, but not the peace of mind. And now all of a sudden, as an entrepreneur, you can have that peace of mind. If you had to go back and tell Dr. Sakeisha Hylick something 10 years ago, what would, in knowing what you've known, like you said, in the last 3 years versus the previous 14, what would you tell Dr. Hylick 10 years ago to help her to be successful and to gain not just the mental fortitude, but that peace of mind that you talked about?
I would have said, go for it. Step out on faith. Don't allow fear to hold you back. That just like you're trusting God in different aspects of your life, you're exercising faith, you're encouraging others, but it's a time to encourage yourself as well. You encourage others to pursue their dreams, but what was holding you back from pursuing yours? The finances are going to be there, but just step out and do what you're called to do. I didn't want to be that slave. Don't be a slave to that check every 2 weeks, especially if you don't have the peace of mind. It's not worth it.
Absolutely. And that peace of mind is everything. So, you have this high profile career as a pharmacist, you have your young children, you have a loving marriage. How did you, Dr. Sakeisha, how did you manage that work-life balance transition from a 9-to-5 corporate to that full-time entrepreneur, and then gain that peace of serenity and peace and not having to worry about, that's a loaded question, but how was that transition and all of that things to go from here to here to make it work?
Wow. It was a challenge because mentally I had to learn, I don't have to be at a certain place at a certain time. It's okay to say no. I was able to I had to learn to establish different boundaries. On these days, I had prior commitments just to be able to say no and recognize if your concerns are finances, you can go harder if you choose to on that day. I'm able to live life on my terms, able to travel more, be involved in conferences, stepping out, speaking engagements, engaging more with clients. So for me, it was a blessing, but that pivotal moment, I think, was, just being there when my family, particularly my children, being able to watch my kids test for their black belts, knowing that I'd missed the testing, all those other, I think might have been 6 to 8 testings before, but to be able to show up for that one, it meant everything for them to look in their audience and see more than just my husband's face in their audience, to see me and my mom, just for those moments, for them to say like, wow, she is here. That was that thing that was that driving factor that said, I can't give up now. I've got peace in my mind, just knowing that when you get an email from a client that says, thank you so much for helping me with this. Thanks for going that extra mile. Thanks for staying up late. Thanks for, just checking on me regularly. Before, I couldn't do that because I was working in corporate, sometimes 13, 14 hours a day. So my clients, they only got bits and pieces of me, kind of when corporate allowed me to have that time off. So for me, that was just a blessing. My mindset started to shift to a different thought pattern, like, oh my goodness, we can offer our clients this virtual services. Oh, I could actually meet with you on a regular basis. My time to meet with you is not predicated on what time corporate America gives me off. So that was just the transition took place as I started to recognize that, and I started having more peace of mind. So it was just at a point where you're like, I can't give up. I can't go back now. And to see your children notice the difference, for them to say, you know what, I want to start my own business. You ask my children about pharmacy, absolutely, hands down, no, they would never do it.
They're like, no, we see my mom do it. That was enough. Yeah. That's fine. And so as I hear you talk, I see a lot of young girls. I can envision a lot of young women. I could imagine some seasoned professionals that that were once in your shoes, but want to be where you are right now. Mm-hmm. And knowing, even you talked about your daughter, right? Yeah. Who you wanted to make sure that you helped to teach her what you've learned and not to repeat those steps. And so to the young women that are out there that are watching this pre-interview and the road to the Deep Dive Summit, what wisdom would you share with them in terms of not just stepping out on the faith of a mustard seed, because that's large shoes, but how would you begin to have them to understand with the belief in themselves that if they have a vision or a dream, that dream can become a reality?
I would encourage them to start, even if it's something small. You may have a dream of owning multiple businesses. Start small, start speaking on stages, start with a smaller business, start showing up in groups and connecting with others that have already gone before you and are doing what you aspire to do. Many times we feel that we have to recreate the wheel. There's collaboration. You know, you could go farther when you're partnering with somebody than trying to do everything by yourself, and start getting those experiences now. Take advantages of internships and talking to people in businesses now. When I go to business meetings, when I go to financial trainings, I take them with me. And they sit there and they're like, oh, so this is what you do. Give them that exposure. And if you're not doing it, connect them with someone that you know is someone that's trusted, that will be willing to pour into them to help them get started. Let them know you will make mistakes. It's not going to all work out perfectly, but don't give up. Just keep trying. When you do a blueprint, there's a reason why when you do a blueprint for a house, it's not in pen, it's usually in pencil, so you can go back and make changes. So I remind them, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just get started and you'll start to witness the growth as you're going along. So.
Yeah, and I love everything that you said. And so why does Blueprint stand out for me? Because for those that will attend the It's Time to Go Deep Summit, this is exactly what we're going to give our audience: a blueprint, a framework, a process, a system. Because we know there are women out there, there are men out there, there are business owners out there that are stuck right now. We know prior to COVID-19, businesses were in trouble. It's even more so now. And so, Dr. Sakeisha, you talked about that one C word versus that other C word that we know we hear quite often, not just in gender meetings or industry meetings, but we just know, and let me just address the elephant in the room. As Black women, young, successful, established women, African-American women, we go through the gamut. 1, 2, 3. How many do you want? So it's all types of barriers, and what we in that glass ceiling is really true for us. And so when we talk about collaboration, Dr. Hylick, you know, and you just said a lot, but we know collaboration in theory is different in practical application. Let's talk about why collaboration is important, but can you share with the audience some of the barriers you actually went through as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as a mom, you know, as a wife, as an industry expert, to even really peel off the layers of what collaboration looked like? What were some of those barriers, and how did you overcome those adversities for success to where you are today?
You know, I had to cast fear aside and pride. A lot of times when we're collaborating, there's this assumption, you know, that you have to be strong in all areas. When you collaborate, one person is bringing their strengths and you're bringing your strengths. I don't need to compete with you. If that's not my strength, I'm not trying to flow in your lane. But when the two of us come together, we can do something powerful together. I'm going to learn from you. I may not be called to do everything you're doing, but just us working together, your strengths and my strengths together, it's powerful. There's no, you know, there shouldn't be any competition. There are enough clients out here for us to all accomplish what we're called to do, you know. But the hardest thing is she's trying to take this from me, or that was my idea. Guess what? You can do similar things, and you're called to one group of women. I'm called to a different group of women. Okay, well, I'm going to let these women know, hey, there's something that she's really strong in. I need you to connect with her. She's going to help take you to a level that I may not be able to. And I'm not going to feel bad about it because these people, they're not mine. These are couples or they're people that we're called to serve. So why would I try to hold them back? That's in essence saying I'm not really desired to help you. I'm trying to make myself great instead of helping them go to the next level. So I had to learn to say, let's put Sakeisha aside. Let's focus more on the purpose and the end goal. So that is, one of the main things that I focus on. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm going to be the best Sakeisha. No one else can be Sakeisha. I can't be Tekemia, but guess what? I can partner with her. I can learn from her. We can learn from one another. So I said, oh, enough of this competition stuff. I don't have time for it. It's like, let's help one another out, and you see it happening in so many other cultures. I had a mentor coming into the financial business, and she was like, look, let me tell you something. You can learn a lot from me. You'll see her on Forbes magazine. She said, look, I just need you to stick with me. Let me pour into you. But the condition is you got to go pour into more people. She's like, I don't mind helping you. I want to see you at the next level, but you have to go and pull more people forward. And I was like, I have no problem with that. Whatever you're learning and teaching me, I'm going to find as many people as I can to teach them and empower them so they can empower others. So it's not that in this culture, we're falling behind because we're competing. Compliment one another, empower one another, educate one another, encourage each other to go forward. And that's how we all win.
DTD Urban Multisport Consulting Firm, formerly the Creative GRP, limited liability company, provides leadership training and business growth development to nonprofits, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and youth. DTD Urban Multisport Consulting Firm has been in existence post 15 years and is the 7-time recipient of the Baltimore Small Business Consulting Award, the 2016 recipient of the USCA Best of Baltimore Training Award, and was inducted into the Best of Baltimore Business Hall of Fame. DTD Urban Multisport Consulting Firm core values are: 1, innovation drives transformation; 2, vision drive change; 3, leadership transform results; and 4, advocacy increases awareness of needs. To assist in the growth of its client's business, DTD Urban Multisport Consulting Firm has an accredited online academy of workforce development, business and education, DTD Sports Academy for urban youth, and a deep dive academy. In addition to services such as business consulting, program development, instrument creation, operations management, leadership training and development, plus more. DTD Urban Multisport Consulting Firm elevates the leader within so that there is less micromanaging taking place in the boardroom, the training center, and the break room. No matter the phase or stage in business, an individual is DTD Urban Multisport Consulting Firm. We work with individuals just starting out to those that need business makeovers and areas in between. We work in specialty areas such as DEIA, training and development, persons with disabilities services, building communities, program development, and getting connected to the urban market. We serve the continental U.S. and abroad online, hybrid, and in person. Our staff encompasses over 200 years of knowledge, business, and experience, and we want to work with you. Book a free consultation now at www.urbanmultisportconsulting.com.
Absolutely. And as you were speaking, what I was really hearing you say indirectly is that you understood who you were as a leader. You had transitioned from this micromanaging phase of life to really transform Sakeisha first, to be able to transform others around you. And so when we think about businesses today that may be in some phase or another, we often see more managing than leading. Dr. Sakeisha, why do you think that that might be the case? Because, and the reason, before you answer, the reason when you were speaking about collaboration, right? Listen, you said, I don't have to be the smartest person in a room. I know my skill set, but if this bottle could give me something that this tape can't, I'm going with the bottle because we're all in it together. But we often time we find the bottle, the tape, the phone, the iPhone, the hand sanitizer. Everyone's competing because people are not as comfortable within their own skin. So how would you encourage a person to understand what they're great at, to tap into their own leadership skill set so that they can, like you said, that person reach back and pull someone up, and so that everyone can get off this hamster wheel of life?
You know, one of the things that I found myself even in a group, and you're hearing everyone talking about their strengths, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. And that's awesome. But I had to sit back and get clear on who I was and what I was called to do. Now, my mission and my purpose, this connecting with this person who's strong in the area I'm not strong in, that only further enhances their ability to impact others. And it's, you know, they say a lot of times, if you're the smartest person in the group, you're in the wrong group. I'm like, I'm ready to learn. Pour into me. I want to be a better person. This is what I can bring to the table. Now, who can I connect with, and who can I learn and glean from? How can we help one another out? It's that mindset shift. I work with a lot of other people that are flowing in the same arena that I am. Okay, what can I learn from you? What is it that I could be doing better at? All right, let's go. Let's learn. Okay, now let's flip the script. How can I help you? Because at the end of it is for us to be able to soar in our respective purposes, but not just us. I've learned more from you. You've learned more from me. We take these aspects back to our communities and, you know, and add more value to the communities. If I'm just all about, this is what I can do, I cannot do, I can do. There's no I in team. How am I helping them out? I need to increase myself so I can add value to you. But I'm still going to be like, hey, I'm always needing to learn, always want to be better. And I want that for someone else. Okay, you've learned this from me. Help someone else out. Now, you know, make sure you have someone pouring into you and then you're pouring out. It should be a never ending stream of information flowing from one to the next. If it's only going this way, these people back here are being left behind. Who's going to pour into them?
Absolutely. And that's part of that legacy that we're trying to establish, not just in our own space, but also at the Deep Dive Summit, right? We're trying to create that legacy.
Yes.
You know, in the beginning, you talked about bringing your kids to meetings, right? If you got a workshop or a conference, don't leave them home because of their age. Take them with you. And I absolutely love it because I do the same thing, right? Because what we do know is that if we can plant the seed in them early, it will blossom at the time that it needs to. So we're breaking all kind of generational curses. We're breaking all kind of family curses and just everything, right? I want to go into the next topic of community, which is the heart of who we are and what we should be about, right? That's where that collaboration versus competition comes in. And so let's talk about community. How can entrepreneurs and business owners build stronger communities so that they can be a resource versus a hindrance? But before you go into the solution, can you talk about some of the barriers you have experienced along the way from a corporate standpoint and entrepreneur before you get into the solution?
I think from a corporate standpoint, just being judged, being a female, being a minority, you know, a lot of times they felt others were more qualified for the job. And it's funny because some of the same people that they wanted to give the job to, they would come and say, okay, now, Sakeisha, how do I do this? I'm like, okay. But my thing is, look, that's fine. This is what you want to do. If I can help, I'm going to help you. And some people are like, you got to be crazy. Why are you helping them? Look, this is what they want to do. If I have knowledge, it's not benefiting me to hold on. Ultimately, they're going to be helping patients within the community. So I'd be doing a disservice to them by not helping someone who wants to help them. They just don't have the knowledge and the information. The same thing with entrepreneurship. I love collaborating with others. I love when people are bringing their gifts and the talents. It gives you a different perspective. As an entrepreneur, sometimes we may feel that our way is the only way until you collaborate with others and they open your mind to so many other opportunities. Hey, did you know that you could pivot to this and offer this to your clients on social media? Did you know that you could do this? Wow, I never even thought about it. When you're doing a summit, you can incorporate this portion. It opens your mind up to so many other ways in which you can serve, in which you can build your community. And to me, that is the blessing right then and there. But it's going to require us to remove those, pride, remove fear. I'm like, remove the competition and realize it's ultimately, you want to build that solid community. Like when we're focusing on building solid families and businesses, you've got to make sure that foundation is secure, but you're going to have to put something in it to make it solid. You're going to have to pour in, and it's not going to just be coming from one direction. It's going to be coming from multiple directions. And that's what's going to make that foundation strong. Then the community can continue to grow from there.
Preach. It's called Overflow. Let's go. Let's go. Yes. Absolutely loved it. And so, oftentimes there are females or males that have significant others that they really want them to come on board. And this is where that competition sometimes versus collaboration comes in,
right?
Because it's that me. But I love what you said a few minutes ago is that it's about the end result. We're all trying to get there together. And if we work together, we can get there stronger, smarter, and more efficient. And so for those individuals that are watching this or the replay, you may have a significant other who you're thinking about building a business with, but you may not have the ring on their finger just yet. And you might be, hesitant. And so Dr. Sakeisha, can you talk a little about before you entered into the marriage of entrepreneurship with your significant other, what were some of the things that were going through your mind? And then how did you overcome that to make sure it was a solid foundation, not just from a union of marriage, but in a union of your business that will ultimately pour back into your family?
Now, that's a really good question. And I'm thinking about it. One of the things we had to overcome is just our personal perspective, recognizing that it's not just my way. We were each bringing our gifts and our talents. Being in corporate America, I had that micromanagement mentality. So my mindset had to shift and recognize, okay, this part of it doesn't require me to be in the forefront. What are his gifts? What are his strengths? He's strong in the technology portion of it. Flow in that gift, because I'm not. So I'm thankful for that component, and I'm not trying to be strong in technology. Give me enough information so that if for some reason you can't be here, the business can continue. It's not contingent on one person. We'll come up with like a little SOP, or, this is how you do this and set it up. So you're not hindered if they're not there. But I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to replace him or trying to become him. That is his strength in technology. Mine is more the organizational aspect. That's where those gifts from the corporate America comes back. Okay, I can come up with an outline, fill out all of these things. If for some reason I can't do it, here's a template of how it can be done so that your business is not in a loss. But you have to express your expectations, be transparent about the gifts and talents, but you got to be pliable. You got to be teachable, coachable, willing to learn. That's how your business is going to grow. My way is not the only way. His way is not the only way. That's why you get on summits, you go to workshops, you go to webinars. Hey, I learned something new that we might want to incorporate in the business. Let me share it with you. This is XYZ. And then you start talking about it. Okay, well, let's see, how can we work this in? You're not going in demanding, we're going to do this. Wait a minute, hold on. That's when you start crossing those lines, and you don't want your partner or your business partner to feel disrespected. You would not do that if you're in the business with somebody else. Why would you do that to your partner? So just have those clear conversations, express what you expect, respect each person's role and their strengths and weaknesses, and have those conversations on how can we take this business or help it continue to grow so that we can bring more value and help more people.
I love it. And for those who don't know what SOP means, it's standard order of operations, right? SOP, business practice, tools, conversation, expectation, treat others as you would want to be treated. And so knowing that we're going into the fourth quarter right now, for those that are watching, it could be first quarter, wherever you are. How do you, Dr. Sakeisha, how do you, with everything that you have going on, how do you stay ahead of the game? And what are some tools that help you to balance being mom and business owner and wife and, you know, a person in general when you take off all these hats? How do you keep yourself balanced? And what are some of those regimens that are a part of your day-to-day for you to keep your mind intact?
First, when I get up in the morning, I get up early when everyone else is still asleep, and I gotta have my prayer time. I have to get my mind right because I don't want to come into the day full of emotions and just not operating in excellence. But we have those boundaries where we hold each other accountable. It's shut down time. It's phones are off. You know, you need to allow your mind time to decompress and be able to rest, because if you're going and going and going, then you wear your body out and you're not of any benefit to yourself, to your family, to your community. You know, you want to show up, you want to be the best version of yourself, and you can't do that if you're depleted. You hear people say a lot of times you can't pour from an empty cup. But so you got to recognize when it's time to be filled up. So going into the fourth quarter, we have some goals. You know, we're finishing some things, you know, that we want to do for fourth quarter. But it's like having that time saying, look, we're not overexerting ourselves, setting boundaries, recognizing which platforms are, we can do that. And which ones are, if we do that, that's going to be too much and we cannot show up in excellence. So we may have to take a pass, may say, hey, are you having something next year? Be willing and understanding that the power of the word no, you know, because if not, you can be stressed, overwhelmed, and it can impact you physically, can impact you emotionally. And if you're not showing up in your business, it can impact you financially as well. So you've got to be able to recognize those moments where it's shut down time, you know.
Visionary leader Dr. Tekemia Dorsey presents the It's Time to Go Deep Summit, the #1 international development summit transforming urban markets. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit is not a normal summit. It's a game-changing summit. The mission of the It's Time to Go Deep Summit is to provide personal development and business growth training to nonprofits, small businesses, and entrepreneurs while increasing resources to the urban market. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit is uniquely different because it is the only summit focused on transforming the urban market by providing training resources to leaders and managers so they can become the resources needed in their community, their industry, and themselves. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit speakers are experts in their industries and remain excited to serve, increase greater impact, and to leave the legacy they are destined to do as did their ancestors. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit goal is to share proven methodology and best practices to current and aspiring leaders and managers for success in business and in life. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit's objective is to assist in the formulation of a blueprint, framework, system, or process for attendees that evoke immediate action. Professional and personal training are ongoing goals needed for positive and transformational growth and development. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit focus is on closing the disparities and barriers that exist by meeting nonprofits, small business owners, and entrepreneurs where they are. The theme of this year's summit is Learn What You Don't Know and Teach What You Do. Grab your free virtual ticket now at www.itstimetogodiepsummit.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And the power of the word no. You know, and I love what you said. First and foremost, think outside the box. Understand you're not the smartest person in the room. We're always educate. We're always looking to feed, teach, and to learn, you know, but most importantly, shut off technology, right? Yeah. Shut it down. Because like you said, and this is the one thing that we learned from Olivia Pope, right? Because all women are Olivia Pope. It's just how you maximize it and execute it. At some point, Olivia Pope got shut down, right? Because she was overwhelmed. And so what I'm hearing you say is that take time for self, because guess what? At the end of the day, if you don't detach, God will detach you. And at that sense, you're no longer in control. So for those that are watching this replay or watching this live, the question to you is, how do you get yourself ready for the day? What are those tools that you're working with? Dr. Sakeisha saying she gets up before everyone else. I do the same thing. It's quiet in the house, right? I can hear my fur babies running around because everyone else is asleep. So definitely take time out for yourself. Mental health is real. We're even in a greater state of the depletion of the mental health strategy. So we got to find ways to pull it together. And so as we're beginning to wrap this up, the one question that I really wanted to go deeper into, because it is about that legacy, right? And it's important because while the Michael Jordans and the Barack Obamas and the Rosa Parks are phenomenal, and they are, they have set the tone for us, the true heroes are the ones that are inside the home for those with children. And so I have daughters, I have sons, you have daughters, you have sons. How do you want your daughter to look at you or to view her mom? And is there anything that you feel that you could change from the past for her to not repeat those steps when she become a mom, to continue that legacy and success?
That's a really, really good question. I believe it or not, my daughter, she holds me accountable. She will tell me, so it's like, Mom, your health matters. If we talk several times every day, and she can hear it in my voice. She said, Mom, you sound tired. You need to shut it down. But then I tell her the same thing, sweetheart, I know you have a test, but you need to shut it down. We hold each other accountable. I never want to find myself at a point again where I am on the floor and they have to call the ambulance to take me home. When they had to do that to me in corporate America, that's a reminder. I'm like, I don't want to find myself in a place like that. I don't want that for my children. So it's important for me to say no, because I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that pattern, that negative pattern or that cycle to be repeated in our home. So it's like, okay, we're going to all shut everything down. We're going to go do some family time. We'll jump in the car sometimes and go to a movie. We're like, you know what? We're going to cancel everything today and we're just going to relax. And it's okay. Life will not end if this is not done today, because your health it's serious. I promise you that assignment or whatever, it will be there. If it's meant for you, it'll be there for tomorrow. Of course, you email somebody, hey, this is what's going on. But your mental health, that's really, really important. Your physical health, your emotional health, all of those things are important. So just trying to teach them a healthy balance. But I always give them permission. If you see mommy overworking, tell me, just remind me, say, hey, Mom, it's time to shut it down. And I'm not going to get mad as a mom because I've encouraged them to do that. So that's something they're already in the habit of doing. So when they're older, it's, how they say, train up a child in the way in which they should go. When they're older, it's like, okay, it's time for me to shut it down. If I'm exhausted, if I can't think, if, I'm like, okay, it's too much. It's time to shut this down for tonight. Or, I'm in a season right now where I told my husband, hold me accountable. After a certain period of time, everything gets turned off. And he will hold me accountable. He's like, nope, you said 10 o'clock. Computer's going off.
And what I love about your strategy is because for a number of reasons, and we're going deep in these conversations, it's because this is part of personal development, right? And that personal development, if it's not intact, cannot transfer over into business growth. Scalability, launching anything. We're only 24 hours in a day. 8 of those hours we're supposed to sleep. And I don't know what you do with the rest of it, but there has to be a balance. And what I heard you say is, it's not only a family business, it's a family approach, but it's a family accountability. And what you also mentioned, and not that our daughters or sons have to be disrespectful, but like you said, my children hold me accountable. I hold them accountable. And that's that conversation that we want our children to take from the home into the workplace, into relationships, into the community, into leadership, right? Because everything is is transitional. You don't just, hey, let me take this top off this bottle, not put it back on. No, this top to be on another bottle. And so those skill sets that you talked about, that you encourage, that you nurture in your children, transpire in all parts of their lives. And so that is amazing. And so as we wind this down, because I can talk to her all day, but I have to get ready. But before Dr. Hylick closes out, this topic is so important because we don't talk about it enough. Oftentimes people attend summits and all you get is theory. Well, at the It's Time to Go Deep Summit, we're helping you to go deeper into a blueprint, process, framework, a system, because mental health is real, family values are real, relationships are real, community building is real, collaboration and competition is real. Taking care of yourself leads to increased wealth is real. And so if you have not signed up yet, you can go to www.itstimetogodeepsummit.com. It's free. Grab your ticket. You're going to find more of Dr. Sakeisha there. She's going to go even deeper into the personal development and business growth. But Dr. Sakeisha, what is the one word of wisdom that you would leave not just to women, not just to men, not just to young girls or young boys, but those that want to be business owners or currently in business, because we know that businesses are the caveat between corporate America and family. How do we close those gaps?
You know, I hate to say it's a slogan, but yeah, you hear people say this a lot. They tell you, just do it. So many times we have that, you know, the pressure from the family saying you have to go, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you have a family, not recognizing that everybody's path may look a little different. You know, for some people, it's the pathway to entrepreneurship. Some people do both, but I wholeheartedly encourage them to start as young as they can. It's amazing what we can learn from the millennials. They catch on to social media so quickly, have all these creative ideas, and they force you to think outside of the box. So I would tell that person, whether it's a young man or young woman, if you've got an idea, start small. You know, there's so many different resources available to you. So if cost is a concern, so many different resources available to you. Get plugged in on someone that's doing what you're doing. There's some people that will sow into you some resources to help you get started. Because some people don't get started because they feel like it's going to cost too much money, or somebody else is already doing that. There's so many excuses as to why they can't do it. But there's so many more reasons as to why they can. But you got to open up your mouth and speak. Be willing to ask for help. You want to be that change you want to see? Start by opening up your mouth and asking for help. Because you have so many entrepreneurs out here. We're willing to help. As long as we know this is what you want to do, hey, we're all in. But you got to let us know. We're not trying to compete. We're trying to collaborate so we can all go to the next level.
And I really appreciate those words of authenticity and transparency. And to really bring it home as we wrap this up, a lot of people didn't make it past COVID.
Yeah.
Almost 1 million people didn't make it. So if we're waking up, if you're watching this, if you're catching a replay, download it, take it back, do the rewind back to the beginning, because nuggets are being dropped for a reason, because we can't get to the next level because there is no I in team, right? And whether you don't like it or do like, Dr. Sakeisha said it best, we all have the same end goal in mind. And that goal is to make it to the next level, whether it's paycheck to paycheck, whether it's getting your kids out of a bad situation, helping them through school, changing your micromanaging to leadership, enhancing your business, helping your community, whatever the case may be. And to remind you that it is your duty as a leader in your family, in your community, in your business, because someone did it for you, so you must do it for someone else. By the way, Dr. Sakeisha and Eric Hylick has their Millionaire Power Couple show that is launching coming up. Can you share anything with them really quick about that? I would love for the audience to support.
Oh, yes. Actually, it's going to be on our Linktree / a millionaire power couple. You'll be able to get your personal registration and personal invitation, but we're going to be launching the end of December. It's the Becoming a Millionaire Power Couple TV show where we interview couples and we share our own strategies on how to help couples build strong marriages while they're building those successful businesses and building that generational wealth. So make sure you stay tuned. It's coming soon.
Boom. And I don't even know what to say about that because I'm going to marry myself so they can interview me. I'm going to have a suit on this end and a wedding dress on this end. Y'all seen it before, so I'm not crazy. I'm just saying. Well, I am joking, but we have seen those kind of props, right? So we know it's real. So, Dr. Sakeisha, by the way, can you let the audience know what is your topic at the It's Time to Go Deep Summit? I apologize for asking it before.
We're going to be talking about helping couples build and protect wealth. Definitely, because that's really something that we don't talk about, as entrepreneurs. How do you build and protect wealth? Some people think you start here small. Some of these are the small things that you put into place as you're younger to start building as you get older. So that, you're not 50, 60 years old, 70 years old, and no disrespect to anybody, but at 70 years old, you really shouldn't be saying, welcome to Walmart. You should have that retirement in place. And there's nothing against that. But some people now, they're having to work well into their 70s and older because there was not a plan in place to take care of them as they're older. Some people feel that it's not important. I can deal with that later on. And before you know it, time has passed and wow, what are you going to do? You shouldn't have those. That's the time of your life where you really need to be enjoying life, traveling. We should be doing that now. Absolutely. But the fact is that just making sure we put off some of these things that we feel are not important, not really recognizing how important it is to have a plan in place. Just think of, like you mentioned, all of those lives lost to COVID. There was no plan in place to take care of their family. So something happened to that primary breadwinner. Those families could be out on the street if you don't have a plan in place. You protect those that you love, and you do that by having a plan in place.
Absolutely. And that means that people should not be going out and paying $800 for the Mary J. Blige ticket. I'm just saying. Okay, don't shoot me right now. I'm just joking. It's a joke. Somebody I don't like her no more. I love you anyway. So go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you're going to pay $800 for a ticket, you got to have that plan in place if something happens to be able to replace that income. So many times we focus on that immediate gratification. We don't focus on the long-term consequences. While it's amazing, and I love Mary J. Blige, and she's phenomenal, but if I don't have $800 in my pocketbook, I'm not paying $800 for a ticket. I'm just saying, I don't want to see if you're carrying a $2,000 purse, if you don't have $2,000 to put in it, let's talk about the priorities. That's what I'm saying. Just making sure we start shifting our mindset to choices. What happens? Nobody planned on COVID happening, but those that had a plan in place, they're good. You've got your cushion. Some have a year, 2 years worth of emergency savings. They're good. But then for those who didn't have a plan in place, that's a wake-up call. It's time to shift our mindset, start thinking and moving differently. Yeah.
And that's why we go deep. This is why this is the pre-interview for our speakers for the Road to the Deep Dive Summit, because when you show up, we're going to help you to show out, not in theory, but in practical application. And what I love, and I'm not going to start another topic because we'll be on here for another 10 minutes and we can't, but what Dr. Sakeisha said, which I want to leave on that note, is getting your priorities in place. Yeah. If you don't have it in the bank account, then maybe we shouldn't be spending it. And if so, let it be a part of your bucket list. SMART goals. How are you going to do that? What does sales look like? But if you have any of those questions, we want you to not just download this show or play it back, but come see Dr. Sakeisha live well, live enough at the It's Time to Go Deep Summit, January 13th through the 15th, 2022, where we're going to go deeper than this. So Dr. Hylick, thank you so very much. You guys be sure to tune into the Millionaire Power Couple TV show. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, perfect.
I'm going to say if not, I'm going to edit that all about it here. So we look forward to seeing you guys on the next show. Have a great day. Be sure to bring a friend, including yourself. Is no reason why you shouldn't, because we're all here to help. Dr. Hylick said it best. Let somebody know what your intentions are. Clear expectations lead to a greater outcome and end result for us all.